Welcome to The Notice, a podcast from OTAVA with hosts TJ Howski and Melissa Locke.
Welcome to The Notice. TJ, what have you gotten us into? What am I even doing here?
You fell for it. We're starting a podcast. I mean, you said you're along for the ride, and here we are, right? Giddy up.
I guess so. Well, I am thrilled to be a part of it. I think it's going to be a good experience, and certainly helps us with our mission to, focus on others and focus on customers and talk about OTAVA. And so I'm always looking forward to doing that.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I think anytime you can have an opportunity to put really cool people on the right platform to add the right value, you don't know what the outcome is other than it's going to, bless other people, right? So whether it's the business side of what we have to offer, the leadership and culture that we're working to develop, the technology, right? Because that's what we're in it for. At the end of the day, it's still all connected to people, right? So I think like we talked about, our number one goal was like just add value. And we felt like this was an opportunity that we could bring small little OTAVA to life, relative to the big whales out there in the hyperscalers and those other people. And so everybody has something to offer. Hopefully, folks connect with what we're sharing. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
So anything going on with you the last month or so? Any news you want to share? Anything going on in TJ land?
Right. So, for those that haven't read, right, we were thankful to put out a larger message, right? Technology is cool that lets us get instant messages out to the broader audience. And so I was recently relocated, as I call it, to the Chief Executive Officer position of OTAVA. I'm so excited to have an opportunity to serve in this capacity, and more importantly, just get to know customers, from this perspective. Spent the last 3+ years at OTAVA working in various roles, whether it was, operations leadership or engineering, technology, security. So been very blessed and excited to see the different facets of the business help turn some of those into what they are today. And then now get to work from this position to serve and see what we can do next by taking those pieces and, moving it forward. So just a little bit of change in the last 30 days. So, okay. Well, one of the things I know that, we'll stop here. We'll pause for a second, right? So you're going to hear me call Mo during this podcast series ongoing, and folks are going to be like, there's Melissa on the call and TJ on the call. Who is Mo, right? And so I am selfishly blessed in that my relationship with Melissa has turned into a great friendship, and so I'm able to say Mo. But the story behind that, folks have asked, like, where did Mo come from? So I think it started with Mojo, right? You want to tell people like, was it Mojo growing up?
Yes, those who know me best, like from high school, and my closest friends do call me Mojo. Yes.
and I didn't feel like, Mojo just didn't roll off the tongue, right, for me. And I live a world of two letters, right? So for me, if a name is longer than TJ, I struggle to retain it because I've grown up in a 2-letter world. So we converted Mojo to Mo. I asked for permission and it has stuck. And so now I don't even think about it as I use it. And it is fun to watch people do like the perplexed dog look where they're like, who is Mo, right? Like...
I was talking to someone just today, and they're like, I was talking to TJ, and he told me I needed to call Mo. Who the heck?
So let's talk a little bit about you. I mean, it's fun. The goal of this podcast was that we wanted to co-host this together. We both have, very different perspectives in a lot of areas of business and what we do in our management styles, which is cool. That's what makes it fun, and we learn from each other, grow one another. But then where we overlap is where it's most important, right? And that's what we always talk about, like our values, our beliefs and service over people, how we conduct our personal life, right? So it was really, really fun to be able to put the two together. But you have an incredible story, and a lot of folks don't know it beyond OTAVA when they look here. And so you want to share just like a little bit about you, because you've been around a little bit, here in OTAVA land.
Yeah, well, it all started back in the 1900s when I had a part-time temporary role at a TV station in Wichita, Kansas. Ultimately, that worked out to a role in accounting where my world was very safe and black and white. I knew the right answer or if the answer was wrong. But it morphed into HR and a positive career with Schurz. Schurz is a 150 plus year old family owned business. It's been through many changes in the last few years, and it's been very rewarding to be a part of that. And one of those changes was the purchase of OTAVA back in 2018. And so I've been a part of OTAVA for about 5 years now, which has been really cool because at OTAVA, they really value people. We value people. And so in some of my past working relationships, HR was kind of like I want to call it like a vending machine. Like, hey, I need a FMLA policy. I need a workers' comp policy. I need handle this matter with this employee. Where at OTAVA, it really is getting to add value to people, to make a difference, to honor this trust that people put into OTAVA, the trust of their career, which is a big deal and not a decision that is taken lightly. So that's the rewarding part, is really getting to make a difference for people, help them get to where they want to go. Usually when they start with us, it's good for now, but it's not really where they ultimately want to go. And I get to play a part in that and help them get there. And that's the best part.
Yeah, that's good stuff, right? So 1900s, by the way, we can't ever use that statement again. I literally felt my heart stop for a second. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, of course it does bring back the most important things, right? Like, Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls, right? Like, and all the most important music,
days.
right? Good old day. All the stuff that would violate all people and culture policies today.
This is true.
If we were playing it. But it does have great memories, from the high school days, right? So, no, very, very cool. Yeah. I think that's one other thing that I like to call out, like today, as we're talking about just, this is a jumping off point. We were talking about this for the last several weeks, and obviously in the transition into the new role is like, what could we do different, right? So here we are, like many of our own competitors, and maybe your competitor watching this, and maybe it adds value to you, I hope. And that is the cool part in this industry is that there's never not somebody to help. like the growth and demand in the industry suggests that we have a skill deficit, right? In so many different areas where customers are looking for help and can't get the help. And so I think for so long we kind of compete as people thinking it's us or them, right? As opposed to it's just we collectively in the industry as, experts in information technology, data protection, security, those kinds of things. But on the other end of that purchase is a person, right? Whether it's the person that's buying the technology that they're going to do, right? Or the person that's delivering, and fulfilling the technology that you've purchased. And that's just people working together in a really complex world, trying to make things less complicated. And it doesn't always go well, right? Like I'll put that out there right up front. Like when you're working with technology, proficiency takes repetition and it takes time. And the industry is in constant flux. And so we're seeing some of the same pain points that others are seeing out there. But what I like about what OTAVA does different, I feel like, and it is differentiating for customers when you look at one product for the other product and they're like for like, similar, if not same, like we messaged before, is our approach to it, right? Marrying really the customer relationship, the actual business issue that they're trying to solve for, and then tying together industry experience and partnerships. It's not just OTAVA. We bring about our vending partners and some of our third parties that we have exclusive relationships with. So that's pretty cool. But you've seen this industry from a lot of perspectives. So can you talk a little bit about that? Like Schurz, as an organization, we say 150 years old, but it has a lot of perspective to offer in this space to get to what it is today, which is the owner of a cloud or an advanced technologies company. You want to talk a little bit about that journey? Because it's pretty cool to see that customers might not even know what they're a part of.
Yeah, that's true. It is a cool story. Schurz started as a newspaper in South Bend, Indiana. A couple family members started that, and they grew and expanded into radio and broadband and TV. And really, when I took this role at the corporate office in 2014, there were over 20 companies that Schurz owned. And they made the decision to pivot out of media. And it was a huge, shift in the business is a big decision for the family. I mean, this was, who they were. They were journalists.
Right.
So they made this decision to focus on technology. And so remain with broadband and invested in OTAVA and managed cloud services, and have done so successfully. And now with, you know, 7 companies and a quarter of the employees, it is still a very successful company, and it's a very cool story to tell, and to be a part of it and to watch it all happen and just realize how thoughtful their decision making is.
Yeah.
It's been very rewarding.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's cool. And if you're listening to this, we hope that you've stayed with us for the last 10 minutes. you can you can certainly go check out more otava.com, right, for us, but Schurz.com, and learn a lot more about the overall company that we're a part of, which I think is helpful as part of your decision criteria as you evaluate your ongoing relationship, or maybe you're evaluating OTAVA for the first time, or got referred to you. We hope, right? That's the benefit of this kind of a communication medium. Well, let's talk a little bit about customer centricity, right? So we did an announcement out to our customer base when I changed into this leadership position about really our central focus. And our central focus, it's customers, it's you, if you're a customer listening to this message. And we, while the industry says that, right, everybody says that in every sector, not just technology, like customers are our focus. The reality is that's hard to demonstrate in deed, let alone in word. And so we've really focused on by creating a central campaign for our first 90 days in seat to get out to the market, to our existing customer base, and to really position the business over the next several years and redesign everything, our processes, our product development, people, training and development, like all the different things that go into serving a customer in this space as this type of a company type. And that was like, okay, first we have to talk to our customers and ask different types of questions, right? Your traditional questions are kind of like, hey, how are we doing? Are we doing good or are we doing bad? Kind of these close-ended questions. And the reality is there's always room to improve. I think what I've learned in 25 years in this space is, service provider world, it's never enough. And that's okay. That's just the nature of this kind of a business, is you have to get better. Uptime is critical. Right now it's sub-milliseconds if 100% guarantee is kind of that thought. But the centricity focus of what we're doing is getting out, meeting folks, talking to people. We're calling it the on the road campaign. And it's not just me, it's our senior and our executive leadership team collectively. So Mo, share your perspective, right, as a people person, right? Which is funny, right? People person, and then you become people and culture, which that's the joke in and of itself, right? Is share your thoughts on, your perspective. You helped design this campaign and our intention. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think we've just come to the realization that for the last 3 years, we've made do with how we interact with people, and it's usually been through a screen. And it's difficult to develop relationships, and you lose something. And that in-person interaction has meaning, and it definitely enhances the relationship. So that's why we're calling it On the Road. Actually, we're calling it On the Road again because we're Willie Nelson fans. So we need to get back on the road, get back face to face, and see people in 3D, and learn about people. And it's not just about business deals. And actually, these are called no pitch meetings. That's kind of the great part about it. That's the only reason I was willing to be involved, because selling is not in my wheelhouse. But getting to know people and developing relationships, that's important. And that's a piece that we've just kind of lost in the last few years. And so we need to get back out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like, I think a lot of what we've seen, I had shared this in our leadership summit right after transitioning into the new role, was, like the year that shall remain nameless, right? 3 years ago, it's almost like we went through world shock. Like everybody's trying to relearn new social norms and social rules and how do we engage and what don't we do? Everything from those things that we took for granted, like, okay, business casual dress code. We joked about that. Like, what is business casual dress code, right? Right? Like I'm wearing a nice dress shirt. The question is, am I wearing shorts or am I wearing slacks with today's outfit? Right. Right.
That's
So
right.
we see this as a part of this social interaction component. And that is one of our focuses is, hey, like, OTAVA is not new, been around for a long time as an individual company. And then now as a broader part of Schurz. But the goal here is to take a renewed approach of, right. Like, we're so thankful for the customers that we have and for those yet to come. But we really want to facilitate different business relationships so that we can add value to the individual person that's making the decision. And then more importantly, align our business to really continue to solve real business issues, not those that we think are problems, but get the feedback from our customers that the challenges that they're facing. We know at a macro level, the communication out to the world is everything costs a lot. You got to worry about security and we can't find enough skill. Okay, I get it. But how does that apply specifically to healthcare versus fintech versus manufacturing versus education and gov, right? There's different people facing different problems. And in these conversations, it's our hope to find out more about, are our strategies aligned to serve you, the customer, or do we need to pivot and make some other investments? The goal is we appreciate the relationships we have and we want to advance those and continue to solve more problems. And then with that also, let you get to know the best part about what we have, right? If the best product that we have is people, which I believe it is, this is a great beginning stage, not just the campaign itself, but the podcast, to introduce you to the many wonderful people that make OTAVA work. And it's far more than just sales and operations. I mean, this podcast doesn't even happen. So shout out to, Cassidy and Josh and our marketing team, that are helping put this kind of stuff together that work to, make Mo look good. But that's the goal. So, any other thoughts on the campaign itself or things you're excited about?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting to know our customers. I like to just get to know the personal side of people. I want to know if you like dogs, because if you don't, I'm going to judge you. And I want to know, do you have kids? And, what do you like to do when you're not talking about work? And then ultimately, get into why OTAVA, because that just helps me learn, helps me understand the
Sure.
value we bring, and just gives me a greater perspective into what we do and the difference we can make for businesses.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. All right. Well, for those that, joined and listened, I guess I would just, kind of close. I'll let Mo shut it all the way down. We have a fun statement that we say around here and just trying to get stuff done and serve people. But, you may leave here today and say why OTAVA? Like, why should I, one, come back to the podcast and listen? I mean, two, wait till you hear more from Mo. She's got a wealth of wisdom. So I'd come back just for that. And for Austin Cook, who's listening, and he runs our finance. I know he's thinking right now because he heard you open this call with your background was accounting and you started your career journey that way. She's staying in people and culture, so we're not having that conversation. That's where she belongs. But for those customers that are plugging in and just kind of wondering, like, okay, OTAVA is doing some different things. Like, you've been here for a while. We see that our customer retention rate is pretty significant. That's something we're very proud of, is that we're providing a service that folks continue to see relevant, to their need, and we want to add on to that. But from a centricity perspective, here's what it really means. It's not about just making customer service better. Like, that's surface level. It's really redesigning the business, which you're seeing in vernacular out there called like CX, right? Customer experience. You're seeing position leaders put into places at senior and executive leadership. You're seeing processes, product development, innovation, that are built around that. And within our industry, you're seeing artificial intelligence and machine learning married to that process so that they can automate technologies to the experience, right? So there's a wealth of change, meaningful, positive change that is going into creating a more centristic approach that is solely focused on making the experience for the customer better. And then with it, adding significant value, right? And so that's what we're focused on. We're going to have a lot of different topics that we'll talk about here. This first series in this podcast, as we envision it, is more about the feedback that we get from customers, some of the lessons and learnings to talk about on the road in this first season, and the things that we're hearing from our customers in the industry by segment. So we'll have that. We'll have some special guests that come in and share, including some of those customers and some of our vending partners. So hopefully these things are just some meaningful nuggets that we plant here that if you're like us and you're in the industry and you're wanting to learn more and connect with real people, and maybe not spend all of your time talking about speeds and feeds and bits and bytes, which we can do that segment too. We find that the people stuff is a lot more interesting. It's a lot more vulnerable. And genuinely, it's a lot more relatable and to me interesting, in my opinion. So, but those are my thoughts. How about you, Mo? Parting thoughts, and you want to land the plane?
Yeah, I'm just excited to get out from being behind a screen to see people in person, check on people. I mean, you can really tell a lot more about people when you get to read body language and
Yeah,
get a connection. And so I'm excited to be a part of this group, this leadership team that gets to go do this and do this together. And so I want to get on the road again,
there you go.
right?
All right. So what are we gonna
And
do?
so as we close, if you don't know what to do a decision.
Do a decision. Right? Everybody makes a decision, but doing a decision is where you make change. So
That's right.
do a decision. So, all right. Well, thanks so much for joining us for our kickoff. Comments are always welcome. Nice ones, right? The bad ones we
That's
filter
right.
out. Just kidding. But we appreciate it. And then again, shout out to our marketing team for helping us get this thing off the ground. And we're excited to spend time with y'all. So,
Yeah, thank you.
all right. Have a good one.